Welcome back to the day after. We're going to talk some duck football. I am the War Duck, and this week, man, oh man, here we go. It is purple bye week. Nope, Dan Lanning says there's no such thing as bye week. It is purple work week, and we're getting ready for that Husky week, which starts today. So here's the thing, is this game was big. Now, it even got bigger. Because now ESPN College Gameday is headed to Seattle for number 8 Oregon versus number 7 Washington. That's probably number 6 Washington and number 7 Oregon. Now that Texas lost to Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout on a last-second touchdown. But I think Oklahoma, they were number 12. I think they'll jump up. I don't think they'll pass everybody, but you never know what they do with polls. You know, some days it's if you beat number 5, then it doesn't matter where you are, you're number 5. And then sometimes if you beat number 5, you only move up a couple. Who knows what the polls are going to do? But Oklahoma is undefeated. They beat Texas, who was formerly number 3. Who knows what will happen, but I'm expecting Oregon to Washington to move up 1 at least in the polls, and Oklahoma right behind them. So, yeah. So, let's see. You had Washington State went down to UCLA, and I think they kind of got exposed a little bit. I think UCLA blueprinted how to stop that air raid defense. They did an excellent job winning that game 25-17. Colorado, of course, last-second field goal to beat Arizona State at Arizona State. Oregon State handled business against Cal, which was very interesting because that was 52-40, and Cal, I think that might be the highest scoring game for Cal in the last few years. So I'm starting to think that Oregon State's defense isn't as good as we all thought it was going to be. I feel like they've been getting scored on a lot. However, Oregon State's been able to score and outscore most teams. Just that one loss that they had. So that's going to be interesting to follow from here on out. USC takes 3 overtimes to beat Arizona. And that's the third escape for USC in the last 3 games. And that's kind of interesting. I didn't think that they would be that bad on defense, but I don't know. And also the last 2 games, it's been really hard for USC to get their offenses rolling. Once they get it rolling, they seem to be okay, but it takes them a little bit. They have a really big game against Notre Dame next week, and I thought that was going to be a Notre Dame roll on USC, and now that Notre Dame just lost, they seem to not have an offense either, and now I'm thinking I'm flipping back the other way. I think that game will be close, but I think USC just simply outscores Notre Dame. And Notre Dame just can't keep up with that. But we'll have to keep track of that next week. Now, for Oregon fans, the best thing that ever happened to you is Miami buying Mario Cristobal back and getting him to leave Oregon to go back to Miami. Right now, in the last 10 years, that's probably the greatest thing to happen in Oregon. Because man, oh man, he just cannot help himself. He just can't. So Miami is trying to run out the clock, right? And they end up getting a fumble with 40 seconds left. So let's just go ahead and watch this real quick. So there's 37, 36. Instead of just taking a knee, they run the ball. And then they fumble right there. All right, let's take a look at this. Georgia Tech has no timeouts left. Miami has 2 timeouts. There's 37 seconds left. It's 3rd down. What are you doing? Right? Just kneel down and the game's over. That's all you had to do was kneel down, the game's over. By some miracle, I don't even know. There's literally nothing that can happen that would actually have to make you punt. But say the worst case scenario was you had to punt. But instead, you do what Mario Cristobal does, and you make a stupid coaching decision, and you lose to a team that you should not have lost to. Because that's literally what happened to Oregon every single year. You win a bunch of games. You win against teams you're not supposed to win against, and then you lose against a team that you should dominate. And Miami does the Mario Cristobal thing, and they make a dumb decision instead of kneeling down, and they run and fumble. And then this is what happens right after that. Scrambles. Somehow they let a defender behind them, and they score a touchdown, and Georgia Tech wins the game. Now, if you're saying, oh, this is just a one-off for Mario Cristobal, no, it's not. No, it's not. Because as an Oregon fan, you should remember, right? In 2018 at Stanford, Oregon was leading 31-28 at home with the ball near midfield. Cristobal could have had Herbert kneel and run the clock down to 16 or fewer seconds before punting. Stanford had one timeout left. Instead, C.J. Verdell runs on 2-2. Says the call look and tell him to be reasonable, but it wasn't. But the redshirt freshman fumbled. Stanford took possession with 51 seconds left and drove down, tying the field goal, and then they won in overtime on a juggling catch to their tight end, which is what they always do to Oregon anyway. So this is another situation where if he had run the ball, if he had just kneeled down and took it and then punted, it would have been no time left for them to do all that. But it's just Mario Cristobal's way. He just can't help himself. He makes dumb decisions and loses against teams that he shouldn't. So, like I said, the greatest thing that happened in Oregon in the last few years is Miami paying an exorbitant amount for the buyout and a big old contract for Mario Cristobal to stay in Miami for hopefully forever. And that paved the way for Dan Lanning to come in and take the Ducks where he has them right now. Number 8 in the nation, getting ready to play number 7 in the nation. And we're going to have game day, and it's going to be an amazing thing. And here's the other thing is I don't see Oregon and Washington not being good in the next couple years. And so this is going to be a continuation next year and the year after. I saw that the Big Ten released their schedule, and Oregon next year with a brand new quarterback, it's going to be tough. They got Ohio State at home. They go to Michigan, and then they got Washington at home. But it's going to be a rough one next year. But hey, we're all about the Huskies this week. It's Purple Work Week. Just finished that. Now we're on to Husky Week, and this is going to be a great game. Now, last week, Washington had a little bit of trouble with Arizona, but Arizona did the same thing to USC, so I don't know. I don't know if Arizona is just getting that much better, or USC and Arizona's defense are a little more suspect than everybody thought, but we're going to find out. I mean, that's why they play the game. Oregon could go up there and lay an egg, but we're hoping Dan Lanning has them locked in, ready to go, and it's going to be a good game. That game is, I believe, at 3:30 on Saturday. Let's see. Nope, 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. So look to see you there. With that, we're out of here. Much love all. Catch you next week.